The Raptors are now 0-2. 0-2 on the season as they drop this one 119-114 to the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio, Texas. They had lots of opportunities to win this game. They didn't make their wide open shots, just some costly turnovers, and really, defensively, a lot of breakdowns. I mean, look, you've given up 113 to the Pelicans and 119 to the San Antonio Spurs in your first two games. The Toronto Raptors offense has been splotchy as heck. I mean, it was a really good first quarter. Again, we talk about this team being so bipolar. They played a really good first quarter. Second quarter was downright terrible. Downright awful. Again, third quarter, you weren't the greatest. You kind of hung around. Fourth quarter, great start. The Raptors led for most of the fourth quarter. But then in the final, minute or so, they just fell apart. They allowed the Spurs to get basically, 3 or 4 offensive rebounds leading to a LaMarcus Aldridge fadeaway shot to give them the lead. You gotta grab one of those rebounds. That is incredibly tough to watch. Then we watch Lowry try and look for a pass, but there's literally not a single person in sight, and I think he was even shocked that happened. But then he just hits the front rim like he wasn't sure what to do with it. I love Lowry. He's the best Raptor of all time. But like one of those, and you can see he was angry with himself for that. I don't know. I don't know. And then Fred VanVleet taking that shot. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Fred. Him and Boucher are the MVPs in this game, no doubt. A tough three at the end for Fred. I mean, it was down and out. It was in and out, and it was like, but of course you missed it, and you lose by 5 to the San Antonio Spurs. Pascal Siakam, I mean, every time there's a loss, everyone, their first instinct is to go and attack Pascal Siakam because he wasn't the greatest on the offensive floor. Look, he did have like 15 or 16 rebounds and had 7 or 8 assists as well. I'll give him that. He was great. He had 16. He came out of the gate guns a-blazing. You know why? He was attacking the rim. He was going, but what I've noticed, guys, and I don't know if you guys have, but a lot of the moves I saw even today, the moves that he made and missed shots, a lot of the times, before pre-bubble last year and the year before, those are shots that are absolute money. When he gets inside the paint, does a little spin move, he's got kind of like a little push shot, right? Those are usually money for him. He missed 2 or 3 of them today, and he was 0 of 5 from 3. So I was saying in the last video about how from 3 he's been great all preseason in the first game. Well, he was 0 of 5 today. He was looking very passive today, like he didn't want to take the shot. When he was driving, he wasn't making his shots. Look, when you have 16 and 15 as your stat line, you can't go on the guy too much. But his percentages were really low. And it wasn't pretty, but I'm not going to blame this game on Pascal. Fred was fantastic. I think he had 27 in the game today. You can't get mad at him for doing that. OG really hasn't lived up to the contract at all as of yet. He missed the first 3 threes he took today, which started the year 0 of 8. He had 8 points in the first game. I think he had 10 today. But he made his final 2 threes, so I'll give him that kind of momentum maybe going into that next game against Philly on Tuesday. Aaron Baines, I thought, was fantastic early on, and then they kind of took him out of the role. They didn't really use him a whole lot. What does that remind you guys a lot of? Jonas Valanciunas. How many times did we see JV way back in the day getting the rock early, pounding the rock early, and this guy was just dealing. Nobody was stopping him, and they got away from it. That's what I thought would happen with Baines today. Now, I think a few of his were on the offensive glass, so you can't go too much up. But he made it 3, a couple great passes on the inside. They were trying to feed him, I think, a few times, but it was tipped out of bounds or whatnot. But I thought Baines did a really good job today. I think he had 13 in the game today. But the story of the game was Chris Boucher coming off the bench, dropping 22. And I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was great, played with a lot of energy. I think he had 4 offensive boards in the game today. He was playing with tons and tons of energy in the game. But as much as I love talking about stats and specifics, and this guy did well, you lost the game. And I think we can all agree on this. Moral victories, if we get told we are in a rebuild, fine. Then yes, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with hearing, the positives in losses. Like for the Blue Jays, for example, the last few years we've been watching them, we've seen positives out of losses. But when you're a championship team and you're expected to be a playoff team and maybe make a little bit of noise in the playoffs, and you play like these two games and you lose to these two teams, people can look at Boston and say, well, they're 1-1. Yeah, but look at the teams they've played. Brooklyn and Milwaukee. You can't go off of that. The Raptors have played the Pelicans, who aren't a terrible team. I'm not going to count them out. They're not a bad team. But the Raptors, in hindsight, should beat them. And they got absolutely destroyed in that second half. I think there's no question about it. They should have beat the Spurs today. But they never pulled away. They had a 10-point lead. That was squandered pretty quick. They had a 7-point lead at one point in the fourth quarter. That was squandered pretty quick. It was an awful game past the first quarter for the Toronto Raptors. I think we can all agree on that. And I'm not going to get mad at Nick Nurse. You know why? He played Chris Boucher. Yeah, he didn't play Matt Thomas maybe as much, but Matt Thomas was not as lights out as he was in the last game, right? And the Raptors weren't struggling as much. Norman Powell played 17 minutes. Didn't get a single point. Didn't make a shot. Didn't really make an impact whatsoever in the game today. But he played 17. That's a moment where I'm like, hey, give me some Malachi Flynn. You still haven't seen him. You didn't see Terrence Davis at all either in the game today. So I know it's early in the season. I know it's only 2 games in, and the Raptors are trying to figure out what works and what not. And you saw Terrence Davis in the last game, and you didn't see him today. But again, you got to realize, you got to remember, it's not an 82-game schedule. Yes, it's 72, but you're now 0-2 to start the season. Now you got to play Philadelphia. And I can guarantee you guys that Philly team is better than these two teams, the Spurs and the Pelicans. Maybe like in certain ways, obviously. Maybe the Pelicans might be a better offensive team all around, but again, with Embiid, look, I think Bates is going to have fun with Embiid. I think he's going to do a pretty good job against Embiid. But the way this Raptor team is defended consistently in these first 2 games, I'm a little nervous about that Philly game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And to drop to 0-3 to start the season, that's something to be a little wary about. You know, we all talk about Masai Ujiri's contract in the future for the Toronto Raptors. Well, we had a feeling that it was kind of Giannis or bust. Well, Giannis is now gone. And they got Fred VanVleet locked up, and they have OG locked up and whatnot, but we don't know what Masai's deal is. We don't know what the future holds, because I know for a fact he probably doesn't want to go through a rebuild or a retool or whatever the case may be. It would probably be a retool because of the contracts you have for your young guys. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I can't predict the future, but what I can tell you is this. That team that we saw again today, they're not playing good enough. I think we can all agree on that. They're just not playing good enough, right? And we know what they're capable of. And I think that's the part that's frustrating Raptor fans so much. Because as I mentioned in the first few videos, Aaron Baines reminds me of a Marc Gasol, but a better version of Marc Gasol, right? So yeah, you lost Serge Ibaka and it sucks. But I think Boucher's going to fill in there admirably. Maybe there's some things that Ibaka's better than Boucher at, but you could arguably go the other way as well. So it's kind of all over the place. Yes, it's a tough loss, but everybody else is the same. So why is this team struggling so much? I mean, that's the thing you gotta put your head and say, okay, what's going on? Is it the whole not having a home thing? Obviously it's in Tampa, but it's not really home for the Toronto Raptors. Is that a big factor? It could possibly be. But I don't know, guys. All I know is that this team's not playing right. Powell's been abysmal in the first 2 games. OG hasn't found his stroke at all. You saw Fred after the game 1 where he didn't shoot the ball very well. You saw him shoot the ball extremely well today. Pascal's been all right. I wouldn't say he played great today, even though he had a really good... He was, 2 or 3 assists away from a triple-double, so you got to give him credit for that. But as percentages-wise, he wasn't the greatest today. He was great in game 1. So you're not really sure where this team is. All you know is that they've lost 2 games to 2 teams that did not make the playoffs last year. And I'm going to leave it with that, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and did not enjoy the game today, by the way, if you guys are still watching, thank you. When did DeMar DeRozan learn to shoot threes? We kept hearing the narrative, oh, he doesn't take threes anymore. Oh, he barely took any threes last year, if any at all. And then he takes like 4 today and makes 3. And I'm like, what? Hold up, what? And it's just, Whatever. I just want to throw that in there for you guys, because you guys are probably feeling the same way about it. All right, hit the like button if you guys enjoyed the one. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game, the goods, the bads, all the great stuff, guys. Let me know in the comments below. Twitter is down below for myself as well. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Instagram link is down in the description below. So follow up there if you've not done so already. And I will talk to you guys on Tuesday night for Game 3 of the season. Raptors 76ers. Raptors looking to, I don't know, get a win. And just get in the win column and feel something good, right? Be able to go into the dressing room fired up after a W, because they need that right now, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Talk to you guys then.